Hey everyone, today we are going to be making a random doll. I have no idea even what it's going to be. So recently, I've been reading this book called Mother Plays with Dolls and Finds an Important Key to Unlocking Creativity. It's by Eleanor Peace Bailey, and I really love this book. I've been reading it all week long, and basically what it's about is if you're a creative, whether you draw, you sculpt, you sew, you make music, it stresses that there comes a point with your art that you need to take a step back and just do something silly, something for fun, something that's just play for you. Because I feel like sometimes when I'm working personally, I get so caught up in making everything perfect or in constantly thinking you're not getting work done, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you need to do this project, you keep saying you're going to start it, you haven't done it yet. And that type of thinking can just kind of box you in, and it can actually hurt your creativity if you never take some time to play. So what I'm going to do in this video is you can watch me create this doll. I knew that I wanted a centaur doll, but everything else about her I just kind of threw together. She doesn't even look anything like my concept drawing. And I'm going to read you some of my favorite passages from this book. This first paragraph comes from page 29, chapter 4. How to get permission to play alone. The chapter before this, she talked about how she had a group of people who made dolls together, so that's what that's talking about. The most important play, of course, is that which you and I do alone, without a group to serve as permission giver. This is the kind of play which uncovers those flashes of aha inspiration that can be pondered and absorbed. It also serves to relax the mind and let it wander. I remember one afternoon coming up to the porch where Ross, that's her son, who was 8 at the time, was sitting and staring into space. "What's the matter, Ross?" I said. "Are you bored?" "No," he said. I should never have asked that question of that particular kid. "I'm doing math problems." Now, this is a form of play that I have never personally been involved in, but apparently this child could while away an hour or two in such a fashion and call it play. Making things out of cloth has always been my first choice in play, but some choose to play with food in the kitchen. That's hard for me to understand because the results get eaten, and I prefer to hang mine on the wall. My father liked to play in the garden. He would nurture his plants and hedges and attack our lawn with a vengeance, although it was quite clear that the war he waged against the dandelions and crabgrass was hopeless. Renewed after hours of playing in the dirt, he was able to return to his profession, playing with ideas in a big advertising firm. He has told me that his complete concentration on the garden left his unconscious mind free to gather ideas. Problems which had confounded him found solutions. In order to have full access to our personal resources, we need to have as complete an understanding as possible of who we are and what kind of balance has been struck within us, or what kind of transactions are likely to be made by our inner congregation. This kind of self-examination is a continual process. It requires enormous effort, and certainly we can never say that we have come to the end of it. I'm not going to read any more, but I highly recommend buying this book. I don't want to just sit here and read the whole book. I'll give a link below if I see it, like on Amazon. And you can go buy it for yourself, but it really is a great book, and it has a lot of aspects. Like, I thought it was just going to be a long book talking about how to make dolls or certain sewing techniques, but it really is about how, as a creative person, it's so important to give yourself permission in order to not only create what you're doing for a living, but to also have fun creating even if there's no promise of a reward or no promise of money. And she has like a bunch of dolls and like beautiful color photographs in this book, and each one, she says, like, each doll she's made has, like, a different meaning to it. And it's really quite fascinating when you learn about all of it. And the thing I took away from it was she talks about how everyone has, like, an inner child, an inner parent, and an inner adult. Basically, your inner child is the one that just wants to play and have fun, and your inner parent is kind of a reflection of your own parents or authority figures, who are the ones that will sit there and either encourage or criticize you, and that your inner adult has to be the one to kind of find a balance between the two of them. I know me personally, I struggle a lot with creating things just for fun because I had it pounded into my head so much that nothing was worth doing unless you could get money for it. And I've struggled a lot with thinking that unless I do a good job or unless I can make a surplus of something in order for it to make money, that everything else is a complete waste of time. And I actually made a vlog talking about this, but when I made the Starry Starry Night pony, I immediately put her up for sale and then sat there hoping no one would buy her. And I finally took her down, and I realized that when I made her, she was just kind of born of my imagination, and I made her just for me. So I decided to keep her. And if I was ever going to sell a Starry Night pony, it would be a replica of the original that I made. And I felt so guilty after I did that. I just felt so guilty. I felt like I had wasted my time making her. And it was really hard for me to kind of get over that feeling. And I'm going to tell you a tiny little bit of this story. I think the person who really encouraged me to be artistic, and did it in a way that didn't put emphasis on whether or not it was important, it was just on whether you had fun and you were enjoying yourself, was my grandmother. From a very young age, she would buy me cotton balls, pipe cleaners, googly eyes, and I sat there, I didn't have to do it for anybody. I sat there and I made like little houses out of cardboard. I made little families of sheep, coyotes, different colored cats, like different colored creatures. And I remember a family friend of ours came over and saw me playing with all these little cotton ball animals, and they said, they said to my grandmother, isn't it so great your grandkid can make their own toys and you don't have to go out and buy store-bought toys? And that's really the starting point where I kind of got this idea that if there was anything I really wanted or needed, I could make it. And I've always remembered that. And my grandmother, she never got me things with the intention of, you're going to sell this and make money. She got me things with the intention of, I love you as my grandchild and I want to see you have fun and I think you're artistic and it should be something, that you should celebrate and you should be glad that you have, because not a lot of people, not a lot of people are encouraged that way at such a young age, so I'm very grateful for that. And I remember she's also the one that started buying me clay, and that's how I figured out that I could sculpt and how I was really good at thinking in 3 dimensions, which really helped me with my freehand crochet. And she also got me, I remember this giant box of Crayola items, and it looked like it came in a giant Crayola crayon box, but it had paint and paper and markers and just anything you could want. And I was so lucky to grow up with a grandma like her, and I mean, she's even the one that taught me how to crochet. And it's those things I remember, like staying up late at night, playing around with the glue gun, just making something for the sake of wanting it to exist. Like, before I ever thought about selling things at fairs or online or recording it on video, I just made things because I wanted them to exist. And for a very, very long time, I forgot about that. So, in reading this book, I feel like it helps you get back in touch with that side of yourself who just creates for the sake of creating. Like, I'm serious. Like, whether you're a painter, a digital artist, whether you draw, you use watercolors, you sculpt, you sew, you know, you do repaints of dolls, like any of it. Just remember to take the time to stand back and realize that it's okay to play, and you don't have to listen to the critical voice in your head telling you you're wasting your time. That giving yourself permission to play and just let your mind wander will actually help you in the long run, because it sort of frees you up in order to, I guess, nourish your imagination, and it will ultimately help your overall creative style and will help the quality of your work. So I've never really done a talking video where I told a story, but I hope someone found this enjoyable, and I hope you enjoyed watching me make this beautiful centaur doll. I'm not gonna lie, like, there's a gap in time where you see the new table and everything, because I got to the point where I drew on her face and then I just kind of threw her aside and was like, this is stupid, why am I wasting my time with this? And it took me a couple of days to pick her back up again and be like, come on, you can do it, it's okay, it's not a waste of time. So even while making this video, I'm still having so much trouble just trying to remember that it's okay to let go once in a while. If you would like to see me make anything else, if you have some cool ideas or a cool story from when you were a kid and you discovered that you loved art, feel free to put it below, and if you want, I can put it in another video. I can reference it, or I can even make a creature that you describe down below, so feel free to say or write anything that you want. And if you would like to be informed for more dolls coming in the future, because there's this big project on the way, go ahead and hit subscribe and click the little bell icon so you won't miss any of the dolls coming out. I am Sunflower. Thank you for watching.